Hi, this is Boney, and I am here to talk about SpeedRunsLive Season 2. I do want to mention that all critical details that you will hear in this video are already covered on the SpeedRunsLive Seasons page, so if you want to check out that version, that is totally cool. This video will cover some additional bonus stuff that won't be written there, though, so keep that in mind. First off, let's talk about the rules for the event. It's pretty much just going to be standard SRL racing rules, so make sure you familiarize yourself with the FAQ on SpeedRunsLive if you have not. And really, otherwise, the only exception to those rules is streaming will be required for every single season's race, so keep that in mind. Whether you want to use console or emulator or really whatever, those are all totally fair game as well. Do keep in mind if you decide to go with emulators, there are some emulators that are just strictly banned from use on SpeedRunsLive. So if you do decide to emulate, just refer to the FAQ and make sure you're not using one of those emulators. Alright, as for the structure, let's do a little introduction here. So if you're not familiar with how Season 1 worked, we essentially just publicly released a list of 13 games and categories, and your goal was to play really whichever of these games that sounded interesting to you, and you were just trying to finish at the end of the season on top of the leaderboard for each individual game that you were interested in. But times have changed. We are in the age of tournaments now, I would say, so we decided to heavily adapt the format, and we're trying something completely new with Season 2. So in Season 2, we will publicly reveal absolutely no games immediately. You will not know any of the games to be included for a little while, and they will be revealed throughout the season. You are trying to win the entire season this time instead of just an individual games division. So all games will have equal importance, is what we're getting at here. Season 2 will be broken down into two phases. And I guess the first phase we will just refer to as the main season. That will last about 9 weeks, and it will feature a new game each week. We will open up the season by revealing the first game, and you will have about a week to learn, practice, and really just prepare for the following week. 1 week after we reveal that first game, we will have two big races on the weekend. I guess the big race that we're really hoping everyone will join will be on every Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern. But if you are unable to make that due to scheduling conflicts or really whatever, we will have an early bird, or I guess a night bird race on Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern. So you do have a bit less time to practice if you join that earlier race on Saturday, but hey, it's better than not being able to join at all. I guess one last note on that, whatever race you decide to join, make sure you are ready when we start because we have to stick to our schedule basically and we can't really wait around. So be early, be ready. Once our second race on Sunday ends, we will essentially just combine the times from both of these races and you will be awarded points based on your placement across both races. The winner of that total race will get 100 points, and last place if no one quits, or contrarily, anyone who does quit either of those races will just get 0 points. And it kind of scales linearly in between. So just as a quick example, say we have 10 racers and only 3 people finish. First place will get 100 points, second will get 90, third will get 80, and everyone else will just get 0. Points for each week and each game will be fed onto an overall leaderboard, which I will show here. This is kind of a rough draft, but it paints the picture at least. And I guess that's more or less how the pattern will go. Once we have our ninth and final week wrapped up, the top 16 on this overall leaderboard will qualify for the final playoff bracket. And there is a slight catch. There's obviously a lot of dedication that you need to do 9 straight weeks of this and just grinding out speed game after speed game. You might miss a week, or you might just not want to play every single game we feature. So we will be dropping every player's 2 worst scores across the 9 weeks. And, even if you don't join the race at all, we'll still drop your score of 0 that you will get. So if you miss a race or you don't perform too well, it's no big deal. To quickly highlight the second phase, which is the bracket phase, it will be a single elimination bracket. The top 16 players will qualify, and seeding will work in the standard fashion. First place of the main season will play 16th place, second will play 15th, and so on. Each match will be a best of 3 race, and I do have some additional details on the bracket, but I do want to quickly deviate and talk about the games. Not the specific games, but I guess what to expect in terms of games. Okay, so as mentioned, the main season will be about 9 weeks long, so we will see 9 games in this season. Categories will all be full game, so you won't see any half completion goals. Everything will be like 80% or 100% or something of that nature. All games will be also approximately 20 to 40 minutes in length, at least for a highly skilled runner. Obviously, it might take some more time for newer players, but that's kind of a window to expect in terms of time range. And as for consoles, these are all the consoles that you might see. We will not necessarily feature every single console on this list, but it kind of gives you an idea of what to expect. You will see no more than 2 games from any of these consoles, so you won't see 3 NES games, for example. But you might see 1 or 2, or you might see none. It's hard to say. But yep, NES, SNES, Genesis, the 3 original Game Boys, N64, PS1, and PC are all fair game. If we do throw a PC game at you, it will be free, freely accessible, legally. And yeah, really all these platforms are quite accessible in our opinion. So, again, if you want to use physical or hardware or emulators or whatever, anything is fair game really. And as before, if you are unable to play a game for any reason, I guess for example, if you don't own an analog stick or you don't own a controller with an analog stick, and you're just unable to play one of the N64 games, for example, it's no big deal because we'll just drop your 2 worst scores in the main season. And it also won't be an issue in the final bracket if you do qualify for that, if you are unable to play a game or 2. And I'll get into that now. So let's explain how the bracket and game selection works. The 3 games in your best of 3 in the playoff matches will all be essentially decided by you and your opponent. And we will be using a striking system to determine which games you play. Kind of similar to Smash Bros. Tournaments if you're familiar with their system. But if you're not, I will explain it very quickly with an example. Just to briefly explain this here, these are all games that were featured in Season 1, so don't read too much into it. They are not likely going to be featured in Season 2. So, let's walk through this very quickly. The higher seed in the match, so pretend I'm first seed going into it, and I'm against 16th seed. I'm the higher seed. So I'm going to pick one of these 9 games that are featured in Season 2, and I'm just going to ban it, and it won't be used at all in the entire match. So I'll just ban a game that I can't play, or I don't want to play, or I know my opponent's really good at. Like if I'm against ZFG, I'm going to ban Ocarina of Time, for example. That's basically the idea. So I got my ban in. My opponent will now ban 2 games from the remaining 8, so they'll get rid of these. Now it comes back to me. I get an additional 2 bans, and these are my last bans. So I get 3 in total. I'm going to ban these 2 games. And now my opponent gets their last ban. They also get 3. So we just banned 6 of the games. They're not going to be used in our match at all. We have 3 games left, and these 3 games will be featured in our best of 3. As the higher seed, I get the first choice from these last 3 games, so whatever one of these 3 games left over between Mega Man X, OOT, and Mario 64 that I want to play, that will be our first game, no matter what. After that first race ends, my opponent, the lower seed, will select one of the remaining 2 games, and that is the game you play next, guaranteed. If our match goes to a 3rd game, then that last and final game will be used as our closer. So there is a ton of potential for strategy when it comes to game striking in a few ways. I'll just very quickly detail it. You want to distribute your practice time between the main season and the bracket. You want to try to read how your opponent will do the same thing, just figure out what they put their time into. And you also want to be able to try to trick them into banning games that you don't want to play before you ban them. So you're essentially trying to bait them into wasting their bans and leave you with better options. And that just kind of summarizes it. Obviously, there are way, way more layers of strategy than that. So This is probably my favorite aspect of the entire structure, personally, so I'm very excited to see how people approach this and see some real mind games between people. And I guess in summary, it's not really about who the best at any given game is, but who is the most well-rounded speedrunner overall. That's who's going to win the whole event. So we'll finish up here pretty quickly, but there are a few more things to talk about. I do want to detail our schedule here. We did tease it in that initial teaser video we tweeted out on the SRL account, but let's cover all the dates here. The first game will be revealed on Sunday, March 18th, and the first week of races for that game will take place on March 24th and 25th. We will have weekly races for all of the 9 main season games every single week after that, and the 9th and final week will take place on May 19th and 20th. After that, we will take 1 week off, and top 16 will take place on June 2nd and 3rd. We will be doing 4 races a day, and we will have our top 8 at the end of that week. And then the following week, we will finish off the entire season. Top 8, I guess those 4 matches in top 8 will take place on June 9th, and then our final top 4 matches will take place on June 10th. I do want to announce a few final things here before we finish off. You know, we're very satisfied with the structure, and we want to represent Season 2 as well as we possibly can, and try to attract as many new people as we can as well. So I want to announce that every Sunday race and every top 16 match in that final phase will be streamed on the Games Done Quick channel. And Saturday races will also be streamed by Speed Gaming whenever they can, because we all know how busy their schedule is. So we will have a lot of featured streams for the season for pretty much every single race. You know, we really believe in this event succeeding, so we also put together a cool little prize pool that will hopefully be appealing to people. Top 4 will all win a SpeedRunsLive t-shirt shipped directly to their house. And the winner of the entire season will also get their username printed on their shirt, just personally for them, if they choose to do so, of course. We also have a large library of Steam games built up. So 4th place will receive about $25 in value from our Steam library, and they can select pretty much whatever they want from our selection. 3rd place will receive $50 in value from that same selection. 2nd place will receive $100 in value from that selection, and 1st place gets 0 from that selection. They don't get any Steam games, but instead, 1st place of the entire season will win a Nintendo Switch, a Switch Pro controller, and a custom light-up dock shield from PDP. And I recommend checking those out because those are super cool. You can go to pdp.com/en and you'll be able to find them fairly easily. They're awesome. You will need to dedicate a lot of time if you want to win this whole event. You know, basically a few months of just straight grinding speedruns. So we want to make it worthwhile and give the winner a nice prize. So that's what we came up with, and hopefully people are satisfied. Lastly, we do have one final bonus thing. The winners of all of the 9 main season races, individual races, will receive $20 in Steam credit as well. So I guess to close out the prize section, all prizes will be handled after the season ends, so just hang tight. We'll get them to you if you win anything. That kind of sums up how Season 2 will work, and that's pretty much it for Season 2 talk. However, we have one final announcement. We have an official SRL Discord server now. Yay! Let me show that too on stream here. Alright, if that link expires by any chance, you can scroll down to the YouTube description, and you'll be able to see the new link. But join us there. Join us there for Season 2 discussion. If you have questions about Season 2, if you're curious how to use SRL, how to connect to the IRC, ruling clarifications, pretty much anything, feel free to ask us there, and we will be happy to help. It is awesome to be working on events again, but we always want to do more, of course. So if you're interested as well in helping out with events, or you have your own ideas, or you want to help out with site development or anything like that, that would be awesome. We're serious about improving, and we hope other people are serious about improving too, and we'll be able to do it even better and faster. So hit us up. We'll be glad to talk. Stay tuned for updates, especially for game reveals. Those will be added to the SRL seasons page. We'll also be tweeting reveals out. We'll be providing information in the Discord server, so you shouldn't miss it if you're interested. But I think that about sums up everything. So thanks for listening. I'm happy to announce Season 2 is coming. Yay! It only took 5 years, but hey, we made it. Hope everyone participates, has a good time watching, and has a good time playing. So we will see you around, and thanks for watching.